CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
Victoria's Drug Strike Force emergency response team and a canine unit were at work in Esquimalt this morning, knocking down doors and crashing through the windows of suspected drug houses there. After forcing their way into the suites, investigators say they found a cache of stolen goods. They seized a pit bull, too. Detectives also confiscated a large stash of drugs and a box of cash. Warrants were executed on 2 apartments in the 600 block Constance Avenue, but police say the 2 search warrants were not related.
From our information, it's street-level dealing. I don't know what the quantities are going to be. It's going to be a while until we get everything measured, weighed, and have some final numbers.
A woman and 2 men were arrested at the scene. No word yet if any charges have been laid or are recommended. It's likely. Police say it is an active file, and if you know anything about the investigation or any activity at these addresses, to contact police or make an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers. They tried unsuccessfully to put down roots in Victoria's Centennial Square again last night, so members of the Occupy Victoria movement picked up stakes, and they've begun a march to the nation's capital. Occupy Victoria set up tents in the square, but the encampment didn't last long this time. Police asked the campers to move on because they didn't have a permit, so the occupiers left cooperatively. They were back this morning, though, getting ready for their long march to Ottawa.
We're trekking across Canada with the intention of collecting global conscious communities and integrating them with a networking system so that we can all talk.
We need a change. We need to join together in solidarity with other folks to make this change.
I think it'll be lots of fun. I think it'll feel like we're finally taking back our future.
Things got nasty in Vancouver last night as a splinter group broke away from an Occupy protest and march and took over Commercial Drive, lighting a small fire in an intersection. The fire was put out. The demonstrators were eventually dispersed by police. The Canadian kindness continues for a Japanese motorcyclist. A Vancouver Island Harley-Davidson dealer is going to help reunite the owner with his hog that washed up on a beach on Haida Gwaii after the tsunami last year. Steve Drain Harley in Langford was contacted by a friend of the man who found the bike, and the plan is now in the works to ship it back to a Harley dealer in Japan. The plan is to have the bike restored in that country so the owner can see the before and after. His motorcycle was in a styrofoam-lined storage container that washed ashore on Graham Island in Haida Gwaii after floating across the Pacific from last year's tsunami. The bike's license plate led investigators to its 29-year-old owner. Steve Drain Harley says more than $10,000 in donations have already been made to help send the Harley home. Drain says he'll put the bike on display before it is sent back and is repatriated. A student from Vancouver who's going to school in Victoria got behind the wheel of her new ride today, courtesy of Tim Hortons.
Hey, you guys are feeling good.
A couple of months ago, she rolled up the rim and won. And today, her brand new Toyota Camry Hybrid is rolling up to the curb. Sarah Weber says one day in February, she'd skipped a morning class, decided to stop in for her usual double-double at the Tim Hortons at the Hillside Mall.
Well, I mean, I rolled up the rim and it said Camry, and I didn't believe it. There was a lot of screaming and flailing going on.
We bought a small coffee and rolled it up and was really excited. The whole store was excited. We all really celebrated, so it was a good thing.
The only thing is that Sarah couldn't take her new car for a spin. She doesn't have a driver's license. She says she's going to sell the car to her grandparents, and she'll use the money to pay for her next year at school. Well, there were no bees, but there was a buzz over Big Macs at McDonald's today, and if you pulled through the drive-thru or went inside to grab a burger, you helped out in a big way, and you might have been greeted by a familiar face.
Morning, happy McHappy Day. There you go.
Today is McHappy Day, where local personalities, including many of us from CTV News, were there to lend a hand for a great cause, pouring coffee, making smoothies, taking orders at the drive-thru, all part of a day's work. The goal under the Golden Arches is to raise money for the Ronald McDonald House in Vancouver.
A lot of the families come from Victoria and Vancouver Island to go to the house in Vancouver, so we were raising money for the children's charity. Every $1 from a Big Mac and a Happy Meal and a hot McCafe beverage goes towards the charity today.
We may not be the best at making those McFlurries or pouring coffee, but we sure had fun doing it. Robin and Brian from Cool FM were there. And if the drive-thru was moving a little slowly today, well, blame me or Joe Perkins.
You know what? It's not easy work. It's tough. A lot of cars, a lot of movement. It's fun though. You get to talk to people. I enjoy it. It's good.
You know, I don't know how many years I've been doing this now, but it doesn't get any easier. Anybody who comes in today to take part in McHappy Day, a portion of what you buy goes to help the kids and help Ronald McDonald Charities, and it's a great cause.
So how long will you be here butchering the drive-thru?
Well, for about another hour, which means the person at the end of the line should be getting their food right around the time I'm leaving.
The good news is we're not at the window anymore, and it's not too late. McHappy Day runs all night as well. McHappy Day's been going strong for 19 years now, and McDonald's has raised more than $35 million across the country to help kids and their families. And we thank you for taking part and thank them for letting us back behind the counter again this year. Good evening. Thank you for being here. We begin now with more on a developing story out of the Cowichan Valley. A paraglider pilot had to be airlifted off Mount Prevost north of Duncan after crashing shortly after takeoff. It happened about 12:30 this afternoon. Emergency crews found the man in some bushes in a rugged area below the takeoff spot. The pilot had suffered broken ankles. A search and rescue cormorant from 19 Wing and Comox was called in to lift him out, and it transported him to Victoria General Hospital. Cowichan Valley Search and Rescue was also called out and says this crash site was remote.
It's very rugged. It's rocky on the south face of that. This will be the second call that we've had to rescue somebody who has basically, I don't know if he hit the side of the rock, I don't know, but it's the second call of that nature that we've had to rescue someone.
It's the second serious hang glider crash in less than a week in BC. In the Lower Mainland, hang glider instructor and pilot William John Orders, whose passenger plunged to her death near Agassiz, will remain in custody until evidence can be recovered from his body. He made a brief appearance in a Chilliwack courtroom today, but his bail hearing was postponed, delayed till Friday. Police say x-rays confirm the memory card that police believe he swallowed is still in his system. He is suspected of swallowing it from a video camera that may have recorded evidence in the death of 27-year-old Lenami Godinez Avila, who made the deadly fall. Also in Nanaimo, a 7-Eleven store clerk is being supported by victim services after being held up by a man who claimed to be armed. The store was robbed just after 4 o'clock this morning. It's the second robbery there in just 2 weeks, and the same clerk was working both times. RCMP say the robber came into the store alone, told the clerk he had a knife, and demanded cash.
The clerk was involved in the last robbery as well, so he has been quite traumatized by this happening to him more than once. So he is working with victim services, and we're trying to get him the help that he needs. We do have several police officers working on the file, and we've let all the other police officers in the area know. It is an area that is regularly patrolled by the police, but we will be paying particular attention to that area.
The robber skulked off with an undisclosed amount of cash. He's described as a stocky man. He was wearing a brown hoodie with white lettering on the front, baggy gray pants, white runners, and had a bandana over his face. Police don't know yet if the two robberies are related. If you know anything about this man or the two holdups at the 7-Eleven, you're asked to contact Nanaimo RCMP. An arrest warrant has been issued for a Nanaimo man who's accused of breaking into a store in Port Alberni. Police are looking for this man, 38-year-old Pierre Guidotti. Investigators say two men broke into a store in Port Alberni early on the morning of April 22nd. He's caught up with them shortly after, driving a stolen car on Highway 4. They stopped the car with a spike belt and were able to arrest one man, but they say the second suspect, Guidotti, got away. The cruise ship season in Nanaimo is now officially underway, with the National Geographic Sea Lion docking at the city's terminal this afternoon. The season is starting with more of a ripple than a splash this year. The Sea Lion is a small cruiser carrying just 52 passengers, known as a pocket cruise ship. But the Port Authority says no matter what size the vessel, cruise ship visits are good for the Nanaimo economy and the city's tourism promotion.
It's a type of vessel which a lot of people go on who are very, concerned about the environment and like to see the smaller places typically not reached by, the large cruise ships. This vessel is actually en route to Alaska to reposition itself for the Alaska cruise ship season. But we've had the Sea Lion in before, but this is the first time it's come actually to our new cruise facility.
The Sea Lion's sister ship, the Sea Bird, another National Geographic ship, comes in tomorrow. Then on Saturday, the first big cruise ship of the season pulls in. It's the Norwegian Pearl, docking at 7 in the morning. That'll bring more than 2,000 passengers ashore.